What's up, guys? Welcome back. Amazing RC. It's your boy Brian, and today I start on a project that I've been wanting to start for so long. Ever since I've been doing RC, there's two things I've wanted to do. One I've kind of accomplished, at least in the most basic form, and that's doing FPV ground-based kind of rock crawling or doing some exploring or adventure kind of stuff. And I do that with my SCX-24, my SCX-10-3, my little sawback. I do all kinds of cool ground-based FPV, so I at least started with that. Well, the other one is to get a dual brushed EMAXX and create a dual brushless EMAXX. You know, two separate brushless systems, you know, in an EMAXX and go to town. Because if you guys remember, years ago, when Traxxas brought out the dual brushed EMAXX, it was a great idea. It was just very underpowered. And you guys know, if you guys have been on this channel for a while now, you guys know that I run my EMAXX all the time. I've done FPV in my EMAXX, and it's very slow. When a little tiny camera on the hood of the car, it looks kind of fast, but it's really slow. So I've always wanted to do a dual brushless. Now, I know that Traxxas fixed the EMAXX shortly after the dual brushed design by doing a giant single brushless canister, like this big giant motor. And it really moved. It was a very, very good truck, that EMAXX, but I didn't want the single motor. It's got double the shocks, I wanted double the motors, double the ESCs, you know, so on and so forth. So I had the EMAXX now for a long time. I'm ready to throw a little bit of money at trying to see if my idea will work as far as getting two brushless systems to run side by side and without ripping the, EMAXX to bits. Because if you remember, the way the dual brushed EMAXX works is both motors run off of one spur gear here. So they sit side by side and both pinion gears run on one spur gear. So these motors need to be running as close to identical power at all times. Otherwise, one motor is going to be working much harder than the other one to cancel the other one's lack of power out. I know it sounds crazy, but if they don't run perfectly in sync, they'll just burn each other up. All I did was basically create a little Y cable here, and that's going to take both of our ESCs, and instead of going into the receiver with just one ESC, I'm going to put both ESCs together, so I'm going to have one signal going into the receiver, and we're going to run it like that. Well, that posed a problem for old school receivers because they couldn't take that much voltage. So now that we have these receivers that are, kind of juiced up for your high voltage steering servos, well, that means that we can throw a little bit of extra voltage into our receiver now as well. Now, I've already bench tested the system here and it works perfectly fine. I hooked up one of these independently with a one battery and no load at all. I mean, it's just the motor's just hanging out. And I went ahead and gave it some gas. And within like 10 seconds, the motor started to get pretty warm all by itself. So I'm pretty interested to see, once I get both of these hooked up to the EMAXX and actually put a load on them. Now, granted, it's going to be the least amount of load possible. I've got twin 11-2 pinion gears for the EMAXX. This is the smallest pinion gear you can possibly put on the old school dual brushed EMAXX spur gear. This is the least amount of torque possible to run this truck. So if anything's going to keep these from melting down, it's going to be those pinion gears. So I still don't have much equity in these at all. I don't see these working out at all. So we're going to, now knowing that this does work and it doesn't just melt itself down on standby, now I'm going to start hunting down a bit better setup as far as ESC and brushless motor. I know Spectrum puts out an entry-level 4,000 kV motor. I think it's an 85 amp ESC for $99. Two of those would be $200. And then you get to like a Max 10. Max 10 entry level, $139.99. It's quite a bit better than the Spectrum, but it's still $139.99. Two of those, your tax tag title sent to the house are like $300. So you got 210, 220, $300. I'm going to start kind of letting a couple things go in the RC world that I have that are extra, and I'm going to see if I can at least get something. The Spectrum for sure, who knows, maybe even a pair of Max 10s. But now that I know it works, I'm going to start getting ready to get a better set, because we're going to throw these in the EMAXX right now, and we're going to see if it even lasts 3 minutes, because we do have one more problem. The other issue we run into is I ordered 2 of these batteries, and I've never gone with this company before, but it was kind of like one of those buy direct kind of deals. Like the place that you're getting these from are the people that make the batteries, kind of like a Max Amps kind of thing. And I thought that was kind of cool. So I went ahead and bought a pair of these for this specific build, because one 3S battery is going to run each of the ESC and brushless motors. And there was a mistake in the shipping, and I only got one battery. Now, they've already made everything completely right, and they've sent out another battery, which I should get here in just a couple of days. However, until then, to test things out, I will not be using the same batteries, and that's a recipe for disaster. Remember, guys, we want to make sure that these 2 motors run exactly perfectly in tandem the whole way through, so that they're not burning each other up. Well, the very first way you can get them not to run exactly the same is to put 2 different batteries, one 60C, one 30C, to run these side by side on one spur gear. So I don't have any good faith in how that's going to work out either, but we're going to give it a try, because I'm not going to put all this together and not pull the trigger. That's just not possible. So I guess the next step is to get all this put together, throw everything in the EMAXX, and take her outside and get her tested out. We'll see you in just a second. All right, so as you can see, we've got the EMAXX out here. As you can tell, after taking the fans off, you don't hear anything while it's in idle. So we're going to take it out here and just kind of run it around a bit. And then, like I was telling you, with the mismatched batteries and the questionable ESC and motor combo, we'll see how it goes as far as temperatures, but it works. It's much faster than when it was dual brush. Now remember, I've got twin 11-tooth pinion gears on here.
love that sound. It's got a killer sound to it, being the brushless instead of the dual brushed.
Okay, consider me blown away. I was not ready for these brushless motors and ESCs to run nearly as good as that. And some of you might be sitting back and saying, well, it wasn't all that fast, tire shredding, super melt your face fast, and it wasn't. But it was much faster than twin brushed, period. Number two, it is on the very smallest pair of pinion gears that you can possibly put in this, twin 11s. It comes with like twin 17s stock. It did get warm in the motor area, and I've got fans for motors. I can go ahead and throw a few fans on here. I think I have clips that have 2 fans per motor. So, I mean, I could do something like that and kind of keep it cooled off. But remember, I'm going to upgrade this. And I think right now, getting fun runs out there like that, like you just saw, you know, twin 11s, keep it as cool as possible. Remember, I'm only working with one good battery. I got another one of these coming here in just a couple days, but I couldn't resist. I had to go out, and I'm glad I did, because that was a lot of fun. And I finally got the twin brushless EMAXX I had been wishing for ever since I seen a twin brushed EMAXX. So I am absolutely elated. I think this thing looks absolutely killer, you know, with 2 motors and the 2 ESCs side by side. I mean, and this was the cheap way to go. Remember, I paid $60 for both of these motors and ESCs. I got one of them for free, remember. So I had to go with it. But I'm telling you right now, I'll say it one more time, I really didn't think it was going to do as good as it did, because when I got these out of the box and I just went free air, no load, they got hot really fast. Like, can't hold it in your hand hot anymore. So call me completely surprised. I can't wait to get my other battery, get them juiced back up, throw them in here, and I'm actually going to go out there and pull the trigger and bash this sucker really good. I'm going to see if I can get this thing warmed up. But twin Max 10s, twin Spectrums, if I gotta save a few bucks, but soon, coming soon, here in a few weeks, we're gonna really juice this thing up. And I am talking tire shredding, because twin brushless is a thing. It can be done, and now it has been done safely. Nothing's melting down. Much more to come soon. Brian, amazing RC. We'll see you guys in another cool video very, very soon.